I found out I was pregnant about 2 hours before the tornado hit, and we're in East Nashville. And all I can think about at that time was, my life is over. My life is over. My husband and I were not anticipating being pregnant anytime soon, and just felt like not ready to be parents.
Lauren and her husband David faced mounting stress in the early spring of 2020, so much so that the news of her pregnancy was a burden instead of a celebration.
Went from finding out I was pregnant, bawling my eyes out for about 2 hours, to then hiding in the bathtub with a tornado right down the street from our house. Next morning, wake up, we're walking down, looking at all the destruction, and my husband's work was impacted, so they were completely closed. And all we could think of is, what are we gonna do? After that, my husband and I talked about, well, there's no way we could keep this baby. We were just not prepared. We were 2,000 miles away from any support system at home. And the following week, within a matter of days, COVID hit. And my husband lost his job, and it just became just fear. You know, my husband and I are both believers. Never thought we would believe and abortion would be an option, but at that time it felt like that was the only thing that we could do. I literally felt like I had nobody to talk to, especially thinking that I may have an abortion. Majority of my friends are Christians, and that would be, I just didn't want to be judged on that sense. And because my mother is a Christian, I didn't think also I could tell her. And so it was a very lonely and isolating season, and just dealing with the shame and the guilt and knowing, if I get an abortion, how's that gonna affect my marriage? How is that gonna affect the way that God feels about me, and if God loves me? And how am I gonna feel about myself? Am I always gonna wonder what that child would have been like, he or she? And those feelings alone and not having an outlet to talk about were just extremely, extremely hard.
Under the weight of her decision, Lauren contacted a local pregnancy resource center.
I contacted the Pregnancy Care Center mostly because I wanted counseling after an abortion. I knew that I was emotionally going to be wrecked with this decision, and that I needed somebody to talk to that didn't know me and can just be there and walk through that process with me.
Even during COVID, Lauren was able to connect immediately with a woman named Rachel at the Pregnancy Care Center.
My first conversation was an hour long, just really understanding what I was going through, which I appreciated. To my core, I knew abortion was wrong. I knew it. But there's a sense when you go through something yourself, it's like, well, I guess it's okay. And I really had to challenge myself, well, is it okay? And why would this innocent life just be taken because I don't feel like I'm ready? Is that a reason enough for abortion? I think at the end of the day, I knew it wasn't right, but more than just not right, it's like sin. If nobody knows about your sin, it's okay and you can keep doing it. It's like once you speak it out loud, it brings a realness and a light to it. And that's how kind of the abortion felt. You know, if nobody knew what I was going through, and if nobody knew that it happened, nobody would have to know, and I wouldn't have to feel shameful. But bringing it to light and talking to somebody helped bring it of, no, it's not okay, and I will get through this, and what is going to be the right decision in my heart. And at the end of the day, it was knowing that child mattered and that we needed to go through with this. And little did I know that conversation with Rachel for an hour would be lead us to keeping our baby and our son, and has been such a blessing.
In November of 2020, Lauren and David joyfully welcomed their son, Wells Jesse, into the world. Becoming parents has brought unexpected joy while strengthening their faith.
I've just seen God continually work in my life of having to surrender. My prayers have completely changed. My life has a whole new meaning now having a child. Before, when I found out I was pregnant and thinking my life was over, it's because I was so selfish. And now having a child, my life is not my own. It's about my child and wanting my child to love the Lord and have a great marriage. And how do I treat my husband? And how does my child see that? Watching each other become parents has been wonderful. And knowing that our son has just changed our hearts and softened our hearts, that God knew what we needed.